And I'm only speaking as an individual. I can't speak for Friends of the Bitterroot. It's non-hierarchical. We make decisions by consensus. Nobody can speak for the whole group. But basically, we believe in science, law, and democratic process in managing public forests. And when it comes to science, I will say that I believe science is necessary but not sufficient. So I believe that even the best science will never fully understand the forest. And so active management necessarily involves unforeseen consequences. We believe that humility and prudence is a really important ingredient when management enters, and we most of the time believe that nature can manage itself. And most of the disconnect, I would say, has to do with cutting timber. Granted, the Forest Service is in a really difficult position. They're supposed to manage for a healthy ecosystem and get the logs out. Well, that's almost insurmountable dilemma. And I should say that almost every restoration project on this forest, there is a recent exception, proposed restoration project that does not include logging. If you mention restoration project on this forest, there's going to be a logging component to it. We'll talk about the timber project that Marilyn talked a little bit about this morning. After this fires, there was a proposed burned area restoration project that proposed 271 million board feet of logging on a burned forest. So we immediately dredged up the Bester report. If I'm not familiar with the Bester report, I highly recommend it. It talks about the problems with salvage logging on a burned forest. Obviously, the soils are very vulnerable, but that project, which was reduced, that was the draft, was 271 million. It was, in my view, the people in this valley were very fearful. I know I was. Oxygen deprivation, thick smoke for weeks on end for a big, huge salvage logging timber sale, basically saying that, if you think this fire was bad, wait till these trees drop and the next fire comes through. Anyway, we went to court, a bunch of groups, had a settlement agreement. And it was very difficult for me because I settled for a bunch of salvage logging in my backyard, but willing to make concessions because what we wanted to do was keep the salvage logging out of the most sensitive fishery streams and out of the roadless areas. And there was this big sweetener, which was $25 million for the restoration part of the settlement package, which included a lot of road restoration. So man, I just, bit my lip and signed away. Well, within weeks, their $18 million of that $25 million was taken away to cover fire suppression elsewhere across the United States. It was like, man, we felt like that was a contract. The judge, it was a court-ordered, mediated settlement. We thought that was a contract. How can you be taking that away? Well, it has slowly come back, and apparently I learned from Marilyn today that we're almost there, but we're not quite there. So 14 years later, and the erosion, from the fire is about over in, I guess, 3 years for the most part. The erosion on these roads is chronic, day in, day out, every year. We're called obstructionists. I like to think of it as a guardrail. Are guardrails obstructing? Well, yeah, but for good reason.